All right, guys, welcome back to Surviving Hollywood. I'm Johnny Ray Diaz.
I am Aaron Arnold.
I am Austin Arnold.
And today, our guest is actor, producer, director, Roberto Sanchez. And he's the guy that I actually had a wonderful opportunity to work with on the set of Queen of the South a couple of years ago. He played this character named Big T, who was like the leader of this gang, essentially. And he was in a wheelchair, and I was kind of his right-hand man. And yeah, man, he's just a great dude, fantastic actor. He's also been, his IMDb list is like the length of my arm. It's just like, it's crazy. I mean, one of his biggest roles is Too Fast, Too Furious. You guys have probably heard that movie before. And believe it or not, that was his first acting role. So it's really cool because he talks about how he booked that role, which is like an amazing story.
Yeah, when these guys come on our podcast, they probably want to talk about things they're doing now or things they've done in the last 5 years. We really go heavy on Too Fast, Too Furious talk right in the beginning, 20 minutes.
Well, that's your favorite movie, isn't it? You keep talking about it. You keep saying, like, that's my favorite Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, it's my favorite Fast and the Furious movie. I can't believe people who say the others are theirs. It's just...
I mean, Aaron and I did see that one first before number one. So
how do you see the second one for the first one? You don't even know who the characters are.
Yeah, I don't know.
From our Ohio upbringing, dude. We weren't in it.
Yeah, I think our dad just brought home a DVD, like multiple DVDs one time we watched it.
But anyway, well, talking about that movie, he had what I liked is that he had some really good stories about John Singleton, rest in peace, man. About the audition process, about working with him. Really cool stories there. And also when he actually got the phone call that he booked it, I thought that was a really cool story because, you know, as actors, we obviously don't always are afraid to take that risk. And he took like a big leap of faith to become an actor and move to LA. And he talks all about that.
And also pay attention midway through. He talks about what he started doing in the audition room that took him from having a day job in LA to consistently booking. So stay tuned for that. Should we roll it?
He drops knowledge bombs. Roll it.
Yeah, lots of. Should we roll it? Yeah, roll it. There we go.
All right, good.
Got it, man. How's it going, man? It's been a while, man. I haven't talked to you in a long time.
Man, yeah, man. It's been a lot has happened, I guess, since
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like I've spoken to a few people like a couple of weeks ago, but it seems like even in a couple of weeks, man, a lot has happened. You know?
Right. Yeah.
It's crazy. How you been?
I've been all right, man. I think just like everybody else, just
Johnny's been killing it.
Wondering what's going to happen with the industry. What, are we going to go back to work again? Are we, what's going to change?
This guy's killing it with the voiceover work, Roberto.
A little bit of everything.
Really?
Yeah.
I've been doing audiobooks. Thank God. At least I'm working somewhat,
Awesome.
But,
how did you get turned on to that?
I had a friend of mine that she was working for an audiobook company, and they were looking for Latino narrators that could speak Spanish as well. And she's like, hey, I'm going to recommend you for this. You just got to audition. And then if they decide to take you, they bring you on. And I auditioned. They brought me on. And then I just did my first 2 books, man. And it was
awesome.
It was intense, man. It was
sounds easy.
No, it was not. It was, the first book was like 600 pages. I was like, oh my God, I've never even read a book that big.
So do you have to read the book first, or do you just as you're reading it, you're saying it?
That's up to you. So the recommended thing is you read it first because you want to kind of be prepared. It's like, this is what's going to happen. This is where the story's going. I did read the book beforehand, and I'm glad I did because otherwise, like it was a lot. And then you want to try to have different voices for the characters if you can. And so you kind of want to prep that a little bit. Like you don't want to be reading it and I'm like, oh my God, there's a different character. I got to make up a voice right now.
Wow.
So it's been interesting, but at least it's work right now. So that's good.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, bro.
What about you, man? What have you been up
to? The only work I've been doing is fucking working out, bro. Woo. I'm working out in the mornings. I'm working out in the afternoons and maybe in the evening. I don't know, bro. It's just, I'm so burnt out, man. But, this has actually been a good period, man, because I think we needed to like hit the reset button, if you know what I mean. Just with everything, with family, with career, with everything. So, it's a good time out, man. I mean, it's unfortunate what's happened to so many people, but, I always try to stay positive. And even when it's something negative, man, I try to find some way to, make it positive. So that's how I see it. It's been just a great opportunity to, make sure I got my shit together, refocused, which we sometimes, life takes us in different directions. So,
right.
So yeah, just trying to make the best of it.
Yeah, I agree, man. Because for me, at least personally, like, other than like there's no work, I actually have been kind of enjoying this quarantine because, like you said, it's like a reset. We can just like make sure all of our shit's together, and we get ready for what's going to change, and kind of adapting and reflecting too. I did a lot of reflecting during this time, so it's been good, man. It's been good, man.
Yeah, I mean, the beginning of the year was just it was great, man. I was filming in Colorado. I was booked to do something else right after that, and then the year went to shit. Just overnight, man. It just it's 2020 sucks, man.
Yeah. Well, what were you shooting? Were you in shooting something and then COVID happened and they had to wrap it up, or what happened?
No. The timing was just perfect. I was in Colorado for about 6 or 7 weeks, filming up there in the snow, man. And we got back, I think, the last week in February. And then the following week, I was getting ready to start filming something else. And then everything started to hit slowly. But, the buzz started to get around. And then I was also recurring on a show called The Family Business. And they were able to sneak in one more episode, like,
nice,
the day of that they shut down things in LA. So,
I'm calling SAG.
Yeah, that's on BET, right? Isn't Family Business on BET? Okay, nice, man. How was it working on that show?
It was cool, man. They they kind of introducing my character slowly at the end of season 2. So for season 3, I'm supposed to have a much larger part of the story. But I love the crew. The cast is great. Trabajando with Emilio Rivera. I don't know if you know Emilio, no?
Yeah, I know Emilio. I met Emilio one time at Rick's. I don't know if you know Rick's over in like near Frogtown area. Like, it's like a burger spot.
Okay.
But it's weird because my best friend from Phoenix was from LA, and his brother was like best friends with his son like way back in the day in LA.
Oh, wow.
So they all knew each other, and he's like, "Hey, Emilio, what's up, man?" And like, I'm a fan, you know what I mean? So I was like, cool to meet him. This was like when I first moved here. But I've never got a chance to work with Emilio, but that'd be awesome, man. I know you guys are friends, right?
Yeah, man. I've known him for we worked on a film like 12 years ago together. It was like an Adam Sandler flick. And he has an incredible story, man. Where he came from and how he turned his, I mean, when he told me that, dude, I was like, yo, you need to write that and shoot that.
Yeah.
But we've remained friends over the years. We were with the same agency for about 6-7 years.
Okay.
And then I moved on, and just we've always stayed in touch. Anytime that he sees something that I'm right for, he always gives him my name. I think he actually probably had something to do with the family business as well.
Family business.
His wife is on the show too.
Right.
And she's solid, man.
Awesome, man. That's really cool, man. That's what you want is somebody that can always root for you. Like that can bring you in for stuff like that. That's cool. Yeah. So we can kind of want to backtrack a little bit. I know we kind of jumped ahead too, but we were kind of talking about it before you came on. But I think we were like really interested too in your story. And if I remember, I mean, it's been obviously a long time, but we worked together on Queen of the South years ago. I think you remember telling me that Too Fast, Too Furious was the first. Was that the first role you booked?
My first audition. Yeah.
Really?
Oh.
Tell us about that a little bit.
Wow. At the time, I was back in Miami. I was just modeling, doing commercials. That's all I wanted to do. But my agent in Miami submitted my picture. I guess they wanted somebody with my look. It wasn't so much for acting really, but it was more for the look. So she sent my stuff in, and they wanted to see me. I had no clue, bro, what the fuck I was. Can I curse on this thing?
Yeah, man.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah. What's up, fellas? How you guys doing?
Hey, what's up,
Who is
man?
that? Aaron and Austin. Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, so you know, I didn't know what to do. She said, "Listen, if I were you, I'd, you know, back then they used to have a Blockbuster. So I rented the first movie,
Yeah.
so that I could see what it was about or whatever. And I was like, all right, cool. So I came in, did my audition. I had some lines I had to memorize. You know, that was hard. And that was it. You know, I had no expectations. It wasn't my thing, man.
Which scene was it?
And I had a 9 to 5. I was working on security at the train station in Miami. So about 3 weeks later, I get a call and she says, yo, you remember that thing I submitted you for? They want to see you again. And I mean, even she was surprised because she knew I sucked. I wasn't really an actor, but she was like, you did something that they liked. So I was like, all right, so now what do I do? And she says, well, when you go back, just do exactly what you did the first time. Don't try to change nothing. Don't get all fancy now. Just do the same thing and we'll see. So
Do you remember the scene that you tried out for or with?
It was a scene, which in the film, it's a scene where we're on the boat. And my character grabs Tyrese and he starts, you know, threatening Paul Walker that I'm going to shoot him, this and that. So easy scene, but you know, I didn't know the technical things that I needed to know.
Right.
But he liked something in me. So I go back for the callback and I walk in and I see this little short black guy, right? And I'm like, man, he looks familiar, but I don't know who he is, you know, this and that. But it was John Singleton, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, he looks up and he was like, all right, man, you ready? And I was like, yeah. So I do the scene. I'm screaming and hollering. And he's sitting there and he's shaking his head like, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm fucking up. And I don't know what to do. So he says, do you speak Spanish? And I said, yeah. And he said, all right, do the scene in Spanish. Boom, I grabbed that guy, I start speaking in Spanish, maricón, tira la pistola, all this stuff. And he's still sitting there like, no, and I'm like, fuck, man, I'm blowing this. And then he says, man, he gave me like the best nugget. He said, where's your family from? And I said, we're Cuban. And he said, well, you know, I have a Cuban friend. And when he gets mad, that motherfucker gets mad. And I don't know, man, just something in my head just said like Tony Montana, Scarface, just over the top. I don't know, something just lit up. I grabbed the guy, right? And I'm just screaming, spit was coming out of my mouth. It was, all over the place. It was disgusting. The casting director was yelling cut like 3 times and I couldn't hear because I was just so fucking amped, right? And John Singleton was shaking his head like, that's what I'm talking about. And I'm like, yeah, okay, now what? And he was like, now you get the fuck out. I was like, oh, okay, you know, all right. So, you know, I didn't know, man. I had never experienced nothing like that, you know? So I walked out of that. I was like fucking amped. I called my agent. I was like, yo, I think it went well, whatever. I go back to work. This was a long process, man. It was about another 4 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks after that. Totally forgot about it. I'm at work. I'm getting a little burned out with my job because my job is pretty dangerous. You know, I got a gun, I got a baton, I got the pepper spray, I got everything. But I was working in downtown Miami in a certain section that's really rough. And we had just had an officer the night before get assaulted. So I'm thinking in my mind, yo, man, I don't think this gig is for me. You know, the money was good and everything, but it was just, I always felt that I was supposed to be doing something else. And I wasn't sure if that modeling or the commercial thing was it, you know? So it's been about 3 or 4 weeks now. This particular afternoon, I go back to work. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I get on the train. I've told this story 1,000 times, man. I'm sitting down, and the train is packed, right, because it's rush hour. And there's this tall dude, large black dude, sitting down smoking on the train. Now, you can't smoke. So I already know I'm going to have to ask this gentleman to please put the cigarette out, and I already know what he's going to say. He's going to say, fuck you, and he's going to keep on smoking. So I'm like, shit, man. So, you know, I go up to him and I say, sir, I'm sorry, but you can't smoke on the train. I swear to God, when he looks at me, yo, fuck you, bitch. I was like, fuck, man. And everybody on the train was like this.
Right.
Like, what you gonna do now?
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do about it now?
You know, I just got my uniform out of the cleaners, man. I wasn't trying to get into a fight, but I got to get this guy off the train. I don't have a choice. So I'm calling on the radio at the next station, so that officer is ready to help me get this guy off the train because he's huge. So I start taking my hat off. I had one of them weird hats, man. I'm taking the hat off, and I'm getting ready to have to tangle with this dude, and I get a phone call. True story, brother. I look at it, and it's my agent who didn't normally call me that late in the afternoon. And I'm looking at the phone, and I'm looking at this dude looking at the phone, and I'm like, something just said, dude, answer the phone. And I answered, and this woman, man, my agent was screaming at the top of her lungs. Because you got to understand, all the main characters were cast out of LA, except for this one role. This one main character was cast out of Miami. So for any agent, any actor in Miami, it was like winning the lotto. You know what I mean?
Right.
So she's screaming and hollering. She's, you got it, you got it. And I'm like, I got what? I got what? I'm looking at this dude. I got what? She was like, that movie, the movie about the cars. You know, I was like, oh, okay. You know, I'm about to get my ass kicked, but okay. I mean, you know. So I was like, what does that mean? And because I was clueless, man. And she was like, well, it looks like you're going to be working for about 3.5 months. It's going to be in Miami. You're going to get such and such amount of money. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, you're going to get blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God, so what do I do? She says, well, you're either going to have to quit your job or take a leave of absence. And brother, man, I'm looking at this dude and listening to this woman. And, you know, normally I'm a rather conservative guy. I don't like to take risks. You know, I like to know what I'm doing, and I'm very like that. Yeah. And something told me to just take that leap, man, that leap of faith, which for me was so uncomfortable. And I told her, I'm going to call you right back. Dude, I walked up to the dude, and he started to square up because he thought I was going to throw a blow or something. And I walked up and I said, yo, you can smoke that whole pack for all I care, and fuck you, bitch. And dude, I walked off the train. The other officer was running, and I said, don't worry about it. It's done. Yeah. I jumped on the train. I went right back to the station. It's now 5:15 maybe. And I went up to the 5th floor, and I gave him my 2-week notice. And that was it, man. That was the beginning of this journey that I've been at now for almost 18 years, man.
That's crazy, man.
Wow.
It was crazy because I didn't, even when I was doing the audition and the callback, I'll be honest with you, man, I wasn't nervous because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And I think that sometimes when you don't know what the hell you're doing, it eliminates some of that fear. But when you're dependent on this audition and you need this audition and this job, you start now bringing all these other emotions and these feelings that, you know, they can feel. And luckily, man, I didn't have any of that. And that, you know, that film changed everything for me, man. Changed my life.
That's what I was going to ask you is like, do you think like you not having any acting experience actually helped you in that audition? Like you weren't in your head like, oh, I got to do this. I got to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, you know, like all the technical stuff, you know, I didn't know. I didn't know how to make an adjustment. But I think that was the beauty of John Singleton, man. John Singleton did discover a lot of people in his career. So I'm just think that he saw something in me that I didn't see, and he was able to guide me and give me that really important nugget. That's really what did it for me. And I'm gonna tell you, man, even when I showed up on the first day of shooting, we were shooting in the Versailles, which is this well-known restaurant in Miami. And dude,
the rat scene there. The rat scene.
The Versailles.
Oh yeah, was that where you did the rat scene with the mouse?
No. That was a club. That was I got a story about that.
Too Fast, Too Furious is my favorite Fast and Furious movie. So.
Thank you, sir. I like him. Him. I don't like you. I like him now.
We'll get there.
But you know, dude, I showed up and I'm sitting there in the restaurant. I'm sitting next to Tyrese, Paul Walker, and then Mo Galini, who was my partner in the film. And brother, man, all I remember was just the street was roped off. And dude, it was like hundreds and hundreds of women trying to get a shot or a look at Paul Walker.
Paul Walker, yeah.
Wow.
And dude, I was like, where the fuck am I? What the fuck is happening here, man? Yeah. And I even told Mo, we've stayed friends all these years. And I even told him, listen, bro, I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm going to copy everything you do. So, he was very helpful in making sure that, I was able to, to do my stuff, man. But yeah, man, that movie and John, I'm forever grateful because, he gave me that shot.
Was there anything when you were working with John, who's obviously directed like a lot of notable movies and stuff?
Boys in the Hood, Four Brothers.
Right. Was there something working with him that you feel like you really learned a lot on set? Or was there something that he told you that you kind of took away that you could use, that you used the rest of your career?
I got a story about John. Again, John just really allowed me to be me and really used what he saw in me to just be natural, you know? And I do remember that there was one time when, oh my God, he played the bad guy. My mind just went blank.
Oh, the main guy? I don't know his name, but I like that guy.
Yes,
I know
Hauser.
I know okay.
Cole Hauser, you know, he's an actor, man. I mean, he's looking at the scene, he's breaking it down. You know, where am I coming from, and what's my emotional thing here? What is that I'm going after? And he's trying to give some ideas to John, and John was like, "Yo, it ain't that kind of movie, bro. It ain't that kind of movie. Yo, just get in the car and go." And I didn't understand what that really meant, but now, of course, having been in so long, I realized that, you know, you have some films that you really do the work. You know, the work that, you know, we've trained for over the years. And then you got movies, man, where you just have fun, man. You know, just get in the car and go as fast as you can and turn that corner, and it ain't much to think about. So,
Right.
but you know, the one thing about John, man, that was funny, man, is that John always was on the phone. You know what I mean? And sometimes I was like, "Yo, John, what is that you like me to do, man? Over here? Do you want me to come over here?" And he was like, "Roberto, yeah, what I want you to do, yeah, hello, yeah." And I'm standing there like, "Okay, what do you want me to do?" "Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, Roberto. Yeah, what I want you to do, yeah, okay, so what I want you to do." So half the time, man, it was like I was just going by what Mo was doing,
Right.
you know, and copy him. But man, I gotta tell you, man, it was a lot of fun. It was a new world. And even though that was one of the best gigs I've ever done, it was also an eye-awakening moment, because you start to think that this is how Hollywood's gonna be. And it ain't, bruh. It ain't. You know, because as soon as we were done filming, I told my agents, like, "All right, so what do I do now? Do I go back to work?" And she was like, "No. I mean, if this is something you're interested in, which it sounds like you are, if I were you, I would go to LA, see what happens, man. This don't happen every day." And you landed like the lotto. You need to go to LA and see if something can become of this. And I'm telling you, man, I never thought about coming to LA, ever. It was not something I wanted to do. But again, it was that leap of faith thing that I'm so uncomfortable with, that something said, "Dude, go for it." And I got to LA, and I'm gonna tell you, I was able to get an agent quickly, a really good agent, because of Too Fast. But obviously, the movie didn't come out for like 6 or 7 months, so nobody knew who I was. I had no credits. I had nothing. So you know, for the first year, man, year and a half, dude, it was rough.
Yeah.
It was rough. I mean, I was getting a few auditions, but I was mostly in class, man. Believe it or not, just trying to learn. You know what I mean?
Who were you during that time? Who were you training with?
Wow. I went through Ivana Chubbuck.
Okay.
I went through Margie Haber.
I've taken her class before.
Yeah. I really liked Margie's class because for me, it was the most difficult. You know, she teaches you how to work with the paper, you know, which is something that it wasn't easy for me, you know, to look at the paper, look up and do this whole thing.
Yeah, working with the sides a lot,
Yeah. So that was very challenging for me. But once I was able to understand the technique, it saved my butt several times. So those were the two main ones that I was with.
I was gonna say too, so because it's kind of crazy that you took that leap of faith. Do you think if you didn't book that movie, you ever would have moved to LA?
No.
So you would have did you ever want to be an actor? Was it something that was in the back of your mind at all?
Nothing, bro, nothing. I mean, for me, to be honest with you, I was doing okay with the modeling. I was actually getting work. I started in Atlanta, and I was getting work in Atlanta. And then I went back to Miami because of the Latino market. And then about a few months later, that's when I got the audition for Too Fast. But I mean, if I'd sit back and look at it, I probably would have stayed working at the train station, doing the jobs here and there. I don't know, man. Sometimes, I don't know, man. I think that sometimes you plan to do things, and sometimes there's something else that has another plan for you.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I think it's safe to say you went in a good direction. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So Eva Longoria, Paul Walker, Tyrese Gibson. I mean, you got to work with all those people. What was that like?
It was great. I really enjoyed working with Cole. Cause you know, he was like, yo, he would come up to Mo and he would say, yo, whatever you guys need, you let me know. I'll talk to John, you know, cause you know, we probably didn't want to speak up. I know I didn't, cause I was like, yo, man, I don't know how I got on this set. So I ain't saying nothing. But, you know, Mo at the time had been doing some acting now for like 10 years. So he was a little bit seasoned and everything, but Cole kind of took us under his wing. And then Eva, of course, you know, her being Cuban, you know, you have that connection. Paul Walker was just a sweetheart. He was just a sweetheart, man. You know, he just had this energy about him that was very, very, very cool and very, I mean, a sweetheart of a guy. Tyrese was Tyrese. You know, I never forget, man. At the end of the movie, there's a scene where I get ejected out of the car, and you know, Tyrese plays a lot. And there's a scene where he grabs my head and he starts banging my head against the dashboard. And then he said, you know, he presses the button, ejectocito, cuz, and I go crying. So the thing was, he had some lines that he had to say while he's doing that. And he kept messing up the lines, right? So now it's like 6 or 7 takes of me banging my head against the thing, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think I ever said anything during the whole thing, man. And I was like, yo, man, listen, I'm sorry, bro. But this, we can't continue this. You know what I mean? Just get the lines right so that we can move on.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, man, it was an incredible experience, and it's been one of my favorite gigs ever.
The scene that Aaron just mentioned was the rat scene. There's the dude
Classic.
from Sons of Anarchy, Mark Boone Jr.
Yeah,
It's crazy because when I go back and look at older movies, I've seen that dude's been around for
forever, bro.
Yeah, forever. And then like you see him in Sons, and he finally, you know, blows up and he takes off. But it's cool, man. That's actually one of my favorite scenes from the movie. You said you kind of mentioned you had a story about that. What?
You know, there's a rat that we get. First of all, it was my first time hearing the term domesticated. I don't know what that means, bro, but a rat is a rat.
I actually love rats, but you know, that's just
what?
Me. Yeah.
No, bro. No.
It's because my ex-girlfriend had pet rats. I was like you. I was like you until she introduced me to them, and then I was like, oh, they're actually like really nice.
Johnny, get over her, dude. Get over her.
Sounds like you still love her.
Dude, let me tell you, the rat, I'm not lying. The rat, I don't know if the rat was like this, and then it had this long tail. So it's the scene where we get Mark Boone, we throw him on the thing, and then we get the rat, we put it on his stomach, and then we put a pail over it, and we start to heat it up. Mm-hmm. So John was like, all right, Roberto, what I want you to do is I want you to grab the rat, and you're going to put it on. I was like, wait, what? I was like, wait, how do you say that? Cut? No. I'm not grabbing. I mean, I'm this tough guy, right? Like this killer, right? But I'm like, I'm not touching a rat, bro. I mean, it was like, oh my God.
It looked pretty clean. I mean, it looks like a clean rat, man.
No, I don't know what domesticated means.
It's got a long ass tail. The tail's like this long as hell.
Bro, yeah. I couldn't do it. So then Cole said, all right, I'll do it. And then Cole was the one that puts it on the stomach. We put the pail. But now, when we're getting ready, you know, once he tells us what we want to know, we grab the thing. And then at this point, John said, okay, Roberto, I'm sorry, but this time you're going to have to grab it. And I was like, fuck. Luckily, the camera's not on me. Because the whole time, you know, you see me like, you know, we doing this, and we hold them down, we talk, you know, we just mean dudes, right? But then I got to grab that rat, man. And I'm holding that rat like this. Luckily, you don't see my face, man, because you would have seen my hand. But, oh, my God, dude.
That would have been funny if it ended up in the scene. That'd have been good, man. So obviously from that you've went on and worked on, like, my God, man, your IMDb is wild, man. Well, obviously that was a big, you know, launching for your career. You kind of mentioned you got the agent off of it. You know, how did your career kind of take off after the movie came out? Like, what kind of things changed for you, or things didn't change for you?
I think one of the biggest things that has helped me is, I'm a military guy. You know, I was in the Navy for like 11 years. So I'm very analytical in how I do things. Even when I don't know what I'm doing, it's going to be structured. So I ended up in LA with a really good agency. But what I started to realize was that the agency was too big for me. you know. And I did book a couple of gigs through them, but I just felt that I was over my head. I felt like I needed to be with a smaller agency where perhaps I was their big fish. So after about a year, I ended up signing with a very small agency, very small. I don't think they're even in the business anymore. But through there, I was able to book one-liners. And I went from, Too Fast, I'm one of the main characters in Too Fast, to doing these one-liners and this and that, because I felt that I needed to learn from the bottom up. I did this, but I needed to really do the work and learn. And I had no problem with that. So I went to this small agency, man, and then immediately I just started working, and that's what I've tried to do is I've always just tried to make sure that I have a plan. You got to have a plan. If you're going to do this, you got to have a plan. You can't do this without really having an end game. The end game may not happen, but you got to have it. And that's something that I had, is that I knew what I wanted. I had a blueprint as to hopefully how to get there. And I had a backup plan. If this doesn't work, I do this. If this doesn't work, I do that. That's what the military teaches, So
what was your backup plan?
My backup plan was just like I said. The first thing was that I had to leave that really good agency. That was, and I told some people that have been in the game for a minute, and they were like, "Oh, that's not a good idea, bro. I mean, I can't get with that agency," and you did.
Yeah.
But I just felt that that's what I needed to do, and I had no hangups about doing one-liners. I was like, I don't care. Because I know that I'm going to build on that.
I think that's great. Do people have hangups about one-liners? I guess so.
Man, well, you know what?
I think
if you were blessed like I was to hit something that big, there's a lot of people that would have said, "Oh no, I don't do that.
You're too big for that now. You got to be, guest star series. That's your next thing. I get what you're saying.
I've seen that. I've seen so much of that, and being that I started in this so late, I'm not one of these guys that always wanted to be an actor, and I studied here, and I started at 38, man. You know what I mean? I started late, but the reason that I think that I've had any degree of success is because I plan things out, and I visualize everything that I do, and that's what's worked for me.
You truly think that's the differentiator, the fact that, you said about the military background, do you think that's what led you to success, that other people don't necessarily implement?
No, I think that that's what helped me, because there are other people that don't need to go through the military and they've had wonderful success. It's just that I think for me, that is what helped me, because I do remember that even when I got out of the Navy, to get into modeling. So I left a good career to go into something that was ridiculous. People were like, "Really, dude? You're going to get out of the Navy after 11 and a half years to model what, underwear? What the fuck?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, Again, but the thing was that even when I was working 2 or 3 jobs at a time, and I would have that midnight shift working security, dude, I would sit there and I would have my organizer out, and I had everything that I needed to do. I need to get my headshots or my comp cards for modeling. I need to shoot with this photographer. I need to do this, but I don't have the money. Where am I going to get the money? I wrote everything down. And dude, from 11 o'clock at night to 7 a.m. in the morning, I'm just sitting there reading that. Now I can tell you that what I was doing, I was visualizing what I was trying to do. I didn't understand it at the time. It was just a thing that I was doing. But that was something that came from me from the military, So I would look at that book, and I said, a photographer, and I noticed that I would get things done. So I've just, my whole career is I've made sure that, when you start the year, people do their New Year's resolutions, whatever. No, I get really detailed with it. I got my dream board. I put everything up. And I had it this year, and it was going according to plan for 2 months. And then after that,
you forgot to put COVID on the dream board. We forgot about put that on there.
Yeah, but you know what? I did put COVID up there, and I said I had to change everything. Now, because of COVID, this is what we got to hope for, and this is what we got to work toward. So I don't know, man. I don't know if it's for everybody, but I know that for me,
It works for you though. Yeah.
it works.
Yeah. You got to find what works for you. What makes sense to you.
Yeah.
Now talking about survival jobs, when you moved to LA, was you only making money off of acting, or were you doing any other survival jobs?
Oh, no, God, no. Again, just thinking ahead, when I started doing Too Fast and I started to play with the idea that I might need to go to LA, I went to an LA Fitness in Miami because, you know, I've always worked out. And what I did was I certified myself as a trainer. That way, once I came out to LA, I had something already set up that I could do. And sure enough, man, I got to LA, never been to LA before, never been to California. And like within less than a week, I was working at an LA Fitness in Pasadena. So again, I think that the military thing, the structure thing for me is why I had a plan immediately. I didn't think of it as a survival job like we call it nowadays. I just thought of it as, no, this is what I just need to do. I mean, you know.
Right.
Roberto, dude, I was a trainer when I first moved to LA.
Personal trainer?
Yeah, personal trainer, yeah.
Okay.
A 24-hour fitness, so I get it. Would you give us a workout plan? Just kidding.
And I see you, man. You're always shredded. You're always shredded, man. I always see you on IG, man, and you're always so fit, dude.
That's all.
I can't even like. I'm like, man, I don't know.
Johnny's distracted by that.
It just distracts me, man.
Yeah, man. My dad was. I think that's from the genes. You know, my dad was on the Cuban national team for judo. He was a 6th-degree black belt. He was co-captain.
Wow.
So I think that I got a lot of that from him. Big inspiration for me was Bruce Lee as I was growing up. So I've always had that in my life, you know.
Did you see the documentary? Did you see the Bruce Lee Did you see the Bruce Lee documentary?
Which one? Because I've seen everything.
It just came out like on ESPN.
The one on ESPN. Yes, I saw it.
I haven't seen it yet, but I heard it was really good. I don't know.
It was excellent. You know, I mean, I've followed this guy for so many years. I got one of his quotes on my chest. And he's just been a big influence. And it's not even so much with the fitness and the martial arts, but he was very philosophical. You know, and a lot of the things that he used to talk about, you know, we've experienced that in our lives, man. So yeah. I continue to go into that well for some serenity.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's okay. He's no Jackie Chan, but no, he's good.
He's no drunken master.
Since you mentioned Jackie Chan, just so that you know, and it's common knowledge already, but have you guys seen Enter the Dragon?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah.
A long time ago. Well, Jackie Chan was an extra in that.
That's crazy.
And Bruce Lee snaps his neck. It's become a famous thing now.
Cool.
Shit.
That's awesome.
That's hilarious, man.
So moving forward a little bit, when did you sort of realize that you were a consistent, like working actor, like when you were booking TV consistently, Lethal Weapon, Chicago PD, all that stuff?
I'm going to tell you, man, 2008. So Too Fast was 2003. So from 2004 that I got to LA till about 2008, I was booking stuff, but, you know, had to get a job and, you know, had to hustle. But I want to tell you, man, because it really coincided with somebody introduced me to The Secret. I don't know if you guys are familiar with The Secret.
Oprah's Secret, of course. For sure.
Yeah, Law of Attraction.
Somebody introduced me to that in 2008. And again, I hadn't even heard of it. And when I looked at it and I really tried to apply it, I got to tell you, man, that was in 2008. And it was the most ridiculous year that I ever had. I think I booked like 18 or 19 jobs immediately after really applying The Secret and really focusing on the things that I said and how I spoke. Like I remember like that next week, I had like my all-time high at the time was like maybe 3 auditions in a week. That following week, I had like 7 or 8 auditions. It was just the craziest thing ever. And can I tell you that that's why things started to change for me? I don't know, but I can tell you that my mindset changed. You know, sometimes people would talk to me and say, "How's it going?" and we say, I don't know, man, it's a little slow. Once you say that, you've made it so. You understand what I'm saying? And I think that's something. The hard thing was listening to the little things that you say, because you're putting it out there. It's a little slow. Oh, I did this little film. You know, you say these things, not really understanding that your subconscious is taking that in. You know what I mean? So I really had to pay attention to how I spoke and what I focused on. And, you know, the two things went together, and that was in 2008, man. And ever since then, I haven't had to have like another job. You know, I've been very blessed. So I think the two had something to do with each other.
Was there something in, obviously the mental is a huge component of it, of acting, of course. Was there anything you felt like you were doing differently in auditions? Were you obviously more confident, I would assume, because of, you know, you've been working now and this and that, but like, what do you think you were doing in auditions that was making you stand out, if anything?
I'm gonna tell you one thing that I did. I did a couple, but I'll tell you the one thing that I really think was the key. And a lot of people don't like to hear it, because sometimes it can come across different. I stopped caring. I walked into an audition thinking, listen, I got a busy schedule. I'm just here to fucking do this thing for you, and I got shit to do. You know, I know that sounds kind of fucked up, but I'm not trying to make it be that way. I'm just trying to say that once I stopped being so desperate, dude, everything changed. And I think what happens is that sometimes we want that job, we want that audition, we want to do well, we want it so bad that it comes across a little desperate. You know what I mean? And
you put the audition on a pedestal, like it's like the end all be all, you know, but it's just like,
yeah. And it is, of course, because we are trying to, you know, do certain things, but you gotta play that mind game and say, fuck that. You know what I mean? I don't need you. You need me. That type of thing. And honestly, man, once I did that switch, I think that got rid of that desperation that perhaps they were seeing when I walked into a room. And again, things just started to work out well, man.
Have you, if you were like talking to a younger actor, besides being outcome independent, would you say one of the tips is getting to, I mean, obviously the answer is yes, but getting to know, having relationships with these casting directors? Did you find you were going into the same casting directors to book these parts?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that one thing that I realized early on was it's not important to book the job. It's more important that you go in there and you kill it. Mm-hmm. Because I'm going to guarantee you, they're going to call you back, and they're going to call you back, and they're going to call you back. And the reason that they do that is because when you go in there, you don't embarrass them. They know that you're going to go in there and you're going to deliver. So that was part of changing my mindset as well, meaning my job is just to come in here and make you look good. I ain't even thinking about booking the job because I know you're going to call me back. I know it. And you're going to call me back because you want to book me on something. And sure enough, bro, I was always going into the same cast. Hey, Roberto, how you doing? I was like, what's up? How you doing? And it just became that thing, man. And in every single case, 2 or 3 times in, I would end up booking something for them. And then shortly after that, because you consistently go in there and really just do a good job, then you start getting the offers, which is ultimately what we want, so that we don't have to go through that whole process. So, yeah, absolutely. You do start to get to know these casting directors, and they get to know you. And again, and more importantly, they know that you're going to do a good job. And I think another thing that I also discovered early on, man, was that it doesn't matter how good you do in an audition. There's some other shit going on that just ain't got shit to do with you. You know what I mean? You're too tall, you're too short, you're too fat, you're too skinny, you're too whatever. You know, I went in one time for an audition, and I know that I killed it. I know that I killed it. And one of the producers said to me, you know what? You remind me of my ex-husband.
Uh-oh.
I was like, all right, y'all. Hey, nice seeing you guys. Peace.
Thank you. Yeah.
But that's what I'm trying to say is like, really, does
Yeah,
that have anything to do with? No, but you
can't
already
control
know that
that.
sometimes
Right.
that
They
little
automatically,
things
they
that
don't like
do
you now. Right.
Yeah.
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 I'm kind of curious about like your process when you approach material. So when I first met you on set, like at least for me at that time, that was the biggest role I had booked at that time on Queen of the South.
Yeah.
And I remember working with you, and I remember what I noticed about you was that you always seemed so calm, so prepared, always ready to go, you know? Just sort of like a quiet, just, I don't know, energy, but like just, I got this. Like I'm already know what to do. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of curious, like when you get something, whether it's an audition or on set, what's your process to prepare for that? What do you do?
I have the weirdest process, man. And again, you up there, it goes to the military. Okay. Every time I get my sides and I got to learn something, I got to go upstairs and I start playing Modern Warfare.
Obviously.
While I learn my lines.
Interesting.
And the reason that I do that is because when we were in the military, I was in the Navy, what they would do is at 3 o'clock in the morning, everybody's knocked out, everybody's sleeping. They would call a man overboard drill. So there's certain things that you need to do when that happens. And you know, you're knocked out, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, but you hear that alarm, you got seconds to do what you got to do. So what the military taught me was that they're always training you to be at your optimal efficiency during chaotic times. So that when the shit hits the fan, guess who's going to be the one that's cool and relaxed? It's going to be the one that trains that way. So I've incorporated that in when I get ready for an audition or something like that, man, I learn my lines while I'm killing these 12-year-olds on Modern Warfare. You know, because then when I get into the room, I don't care what is happening around me. I'm here, bro. I'm fucking focused. So again, that's just my process. I know that it doesn't work for everybody, and I don't know that I would recommend it for everybody, but you know, it works for me.
How was working with Johnny on that show? You can be honest.
Oh, bro. Oh, damn. You had to ask.
I know, man.
You know,
I hear you. I hear you.
I mean, you know, he always was hanging around, and
He was just talking to me between takes. Just a piece of shit.
Know, I'm like, dude, I need Modern Warfare right now because you're just way too distracting, bro. I can't even fucking remember my lines because you're just no. I had a great time with Johnny. You know, that was a cool gig, man. And I remember the guys with the wheelchairs.
That was cool, man. That was a cool scene.
I mean, them guys are fucking animals, bro. They're fucking animals. Because, you know, I show up on the set, and, you know, back then I was a little bit bigger, so, you know, I'm all buff and shit. And, dude, I get on the wheelchairs, and I'm trying to keep up with these guys, and I'm like, oh, my God. You know, it was like, and then you got to play that sport, and they're throwing the ball, and it's like, you know, like tag ball or whatever. And I had such an immense respect for those guys, but I really enjoyed it, man. I had a good time with Johnny and then the entire cast. It was great. You know,
I was kind of bummed because I remember the last day I was on set. I can't remember her name, but you know, I was saying goodbye to one of the producers that was on the show. It was like, thank you for the opportunity. You know, kind of doing the whole regular thing or whatever. And the director at the time, which I remember there was like two directors. There was like Eduardo
Sanchez.
Yeah, who did Blair Witch Project.
Yeah.
And the other director was like, I can't remember his name. I think it was David Friendly, maybe.
I know David Friendly is one of the producers. I don't know if he.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if he was directing. I remember there was two because they were like combining the episodes together, and that's where they were splitting time. But anyway, as I was kind of leaving or whatever, I was saying goodbye to the director and the producer, and you know, they were telling me thank you, this and that, and they were like, "Hey, we'll see you for season 3," and I was like, "Oh shit, cool." You know, I was thinking like, okay, the storyline is going to continue.
Did I just get booked?
And then I was like, man, great, you know, and didn't happen. So, you know, I was like, we're both gonna come back. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of what I was thinking. And then like, It just
You
didn't.
know, a weird thing about we shot that in Dallas, right? That was in
Yeah,
Dallas.
yeah.
I'll never forget this, man. And this probably has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I feel like I need to tell somebody, dude. We would post pictures or whatever, of us either shooting or whatever, just hanging out. And I'll never forget, man. I got hit up on, I think it was Facebook, by some guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "Hey, man, I'm a big fan of Queen of the South. I'm here in Dallas, blah, blah, blah. I'm digging your character, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, "Oh, all right, cool." And dude, I swear to God, I don't remember at the hotel, I think there was a Subway about a block away. And I would go to the Subway to get something. I'll never forget, man. I went to the Subway, and as I'm walking, I get a message on Facebook from that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying, "Hey, man, are you wearing a white tank top and black pants?" I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, I mean, I never experienced nothing like that. I was like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Is he like stalking me or what?
Following you? Yeah.
Yeah, man. And so I went to Subway, man, and I stayed at Subway for like 4 hours because I didn't know what the fuck was happening. I'm getting ready to call somebody from the crew to come get me. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll never forget that, man. It was so creepy that some of these shows have such a strong following that they know where the actors stay and
where they are.
Yeah. I just had to tell you that.
Dude. Yeah, man. It could have been part of the reason too, because I think they moved the show to Louisiana or something. I don't know where they ended up moving it, but I remember that. And I remember I ran into Eduardo at the airport when I was headed back to LA, and I ran to him like, "Oh, hey, what's up, man?" Because he was on another flight. Man, he was flustered.
Was he?
Yeah, I just remember him. I was like, "Hey, it was great working with you," and I was like, "Are you gonna come back for more episodes, or what's going on?" And he's like, "I don't know, man. I don't know." And he was just like, "He's like, I don't know. It's a mess. It's a mess there. Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna let's see what happens. Who knows? And I was
they're doing well though. I think they're up to season 5 maybe.
Yeah, they've been doing well, man. It's a good show, man. It's a good show. So, but anyway, man, it was an honor working with you, man.
Likewise, brother. Likewise.
So it was great working with you on that.
They'll probably call you back for the reunion episode, Johnny.
Yeah, okay. Of course.
In our final 5 minutes, I know you guys have a couple questions. I wanted to circle back to Roberto, your game plan, or your vision board, whatever you're talking about it. Now that COVID has happened, what are some practicals on your game plan today?
It was a great you know what I did was
probably hang that picture that's not hanging. That needs to go on the wall. And then
well, you know what? Actually, I started to really understand where the business is going. You know what I mean? I think that I believe that thing. I think that thing about going into the room, I think we're done with that. I really believe that, man. I believe that they're going to go with the self-tapes. So I invested in I invested in the whole thing, the lights, the backdrop, the everything. And I just been practicing on making sure that, you get the best angles, the best lighting and everything, because that's something that I had never done before. So, I had to really learn that, I had to make sure that, that all my stuff, man, just for example, I've never used Actors Access. I've had it forever, but I've never really used it. I make sure that everything up there is updated, resumes, stuff like that. Like I said, it's been a great opportunity to reset and make sure that you got all the tools that you need available so that whenever this thing does pick up again, you're ready, because there's a lot of people that have been procrastinating, and some people dealing with life, man. It's been hard on everybody, but you still got to find a way to make sure that you're ready. If you can't do any online classes, read books, do something every day. You got to do something toward your career. For me personally, I've directed a couple of films, and I wrote one as well. So that's what I've been doing a lot of. I've actually written a couple of short films, and then also a web series. So again, doing something to just stay proactive, keep my mind focused. And I don't know when, but I know that everything is hopefully going to get back to some form of new normal, Right. And you just got to be ready, man.
And that was gonna be my next question. I know you've been producing and directing stuff. So why did you decide to do that? Because I think it's important to like you said, be doing something constantly. And do you have plans to eventually make a feature?
You know, I do believe, especially Latinos, but this can be for anybody as well, man. I think that Hollywood ain't giving you shit. They're not going to give you shit. And I think that sometimes you have to create your own projects. And I think that we all have been in this for a minute now, and we got friends that have directed. We've got friends that know how to write. We got friends that got cameras. We got friends that have lighting. You guys need to get together and say, yo, let's just shoot. Let's just do content. Let's just do stuff together. And that's kind of the reason that I got into writing, the first thing that I did. But then recently I did a short film that I wanted to dedicate to my mother. My mother and I were estranged. We hadn't been together. We hadn't seen each other for like 11 years. And then when I finally decided to find out where she was, I found out that she had just died 6 months earlier, after 11 years. So dealing with the guilt and the frustration of not having acted on that sooner and looking for her sooner, that prompted me to write The Terms of Us, which is the short film that just that's been in the festival circuit for about a year. So that motivated me to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that's one thing that people would always ask is like, well, the film started winning a bunch of awards, and there was like, well, do you want to direct again? Do you want to write again? I was like, no, not really. I needed to do this. But now that, because of COVID, and you're thinking about things to do, and you start, just thinking of things. Now I've got several ideas that have just come to my head, man, and I just sat down and just started putting them on paper, and I'm writing and hopefully be able to put these projects down next year.
By the way, is there anywhere that we can see the film or the audience can see that film?
Yeah, well, right now I just finished the festival circuit, so I'm trying to get distribution for it. But what I can do is I can send you a link to it.
Okay.
So you guys,
I love to watch it. Yeah,
me too.
I'd love to watch it. It'd be awesome.
And an NDA, and we'll sign it. And
if we need to, that's fine.
No, but that would be cool. That would be cool.
The last thing I kind of wanted to talk about is I haven't seen it, man. I've been meaning to. Is because I actually remember, I can't remember what movie I was watching in theater, but the trailer for Beneath Us came out, and I was like, holy shit!
Oh yeah, that
I was like, holy shit, Roberto's right there, in the trailer. And I can't remember what movie I was watching, and that movie reminded me of Get Out, but with Latinos.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, this movie looks really cool, and I really like the idea. So where can we see that movie, and maybe you want to tell us real quick about that movie?
It's now available on just about any on-demand thing, Prime, Amazon Prime. But I'm gonna tell you, man, I'm very proud of that film. It came out, I think it was in February, nationwide.
Because it was like right before COVID. Man,
yeah, right before that. And I gotta tell you, man, when I sat there and I was at the theater watching it, I was blown away, because I was like, you don't really see a film where you have 4 Latinos headlining a film. You just don't see it, unfortunately. You just don't see enough of that. And this was done independently, outside of the studios, and it was packed. And I think that it only ran for a couple of weeks before COVID, but dude, it was like number 16 or 17 nationwide. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was very proud that Latino producers, Latino actors were able to put this together. And I got to tell you, man, they did a great job. It was good.
Yeah.
Like, it was, I don't normally, believe it or not, I don't normally like to see myself, but they did a great job, man. I mean, I was scared there a couple of times. But yeah, you can watch it on Amazon Prime.
Cool, man. I'm definitely gonna check it out. I remember when I watched the trailer, I was like, oh hell yeah! I was like, that's cool that Roberto's in that. I was like, I was rooting for you, man. I was like, that's cool.
Appreciate it.
Anyway, any upcoming projects that you want to kind of promote or kind of get out there that you got,
or your social media? Where can our audience find you?
Okay. I got, everybody's got projects on hold, man. So the film that we did in Colorado is called Red Winter. That's in post-production now. I got another one that's called Blindsided with Natasha Hensridge, Costas Mandalore. That'll be coming up. coming out whenever things get somewhat normal. And then got one that we did in Mexico last year called Legacy. That's going to be available like on demand pretty soon.
Cool.
So looking forward to that. Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at official Roberto Sanchez. And then on Facebook, I'm under Roberto Sanchez.
Cool.
Love it.
Cool. Awesome, man. Dude, thank you so much for your time, man. I really respect and admire you, man. So
me too. Too Fast, Too Furious is the best one, definitively. I will say that. It's the best.
It's true.
one.
You know what, man? It's good, but I got to tell you, man, I still dig that first one.
Oh, my God. You're in the second one.
The first one's a classic, right? It's at the bar. It's at the bar, right?
No, Too Fast is my heart, but that first one to me was still like really good.
Then I'm brainwashed because I legitimately think the second one is, well, it's my favorite. I don't know if it's better, but it's my favorite.
Well, I thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, for sure, man. Thank you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for the time, man. I appreciate it, man.
This was fun.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, stay safe out there, man. Stay healthy. And hopefully, we get to work on something soon, man.
For sure, man. And nice meeting you guys.
You, Roberto.
All right, bro.